On with the director's dives for Paul Thomas Anderson. Director's
Yeah,
dive number 6, right? Yeah.
yeah, and we pose a question before we get into this director's dive. At least I do. Are you one of the animals?
Aren't we all?
Mm,
But yeah, The Master, if that didn't give it away. It's kind of shocking how fast I feel like we're going through Paul Thomas Anderson compared to
yeah,
Kubrick. Like we're almost
Yeah.
done, I feel like. But yeah, he does have less films, but not by many. So
maybe it's a sign that maybe PTA is just superior because he can,
it breeds us
give you the
faster.
ride of your life.
The thing I was thinking that I didn't have much to think about with PTA, whereas Kubrick, the time was.
That hurts, but okay.
I was just trying to counter that, but they're both really good. I mean, going into The Master,
Yeah.
this is one I actually watched before, and this is one that before I was this dive, it showed me that there was some class to PTA, some prestige there. So I kind of hopped in on this one later, and it's nice to get back to it. I will say, I think I came out slightly more negative than the first watch, but maybe I was just looking for more, and the first watch through kind of just washed over me more.
Yeah.
Still a great film, 4 stars for me. But it was 4.5 before that. I kind of bumped it slightly down to 4. But what do you guys think about it?
This one, it solidified my 4.5 that I gave it. I think I just feel like this time around I was more focused on like the story and like the characters, like Joaquin's character of being targeted by a religious group because those are the ones that they go for. I think I forget which one it is, the Mormons or the Jehovah's Witnesses. Where they
Scientology.
yeah, or say obviously Scientology is a big thing on this, but like those, like I know Mormon and Jehovah's, like the things I was reading, they target like newly divorced moms and be like, "Hey, join our church. We'll be your new family of." So that kind of was like hitting true. I guess I've been just going through this phase in life of like realizing kind of the systemic. I don't really like that word, but the systemic problems of religion and just at its core,
culture.
they're right how it's been skewed. Where it has its perks. Obviously, people benefit from it, but at its core, there's like those big guys like Ron L. Hubbard or L. Ron Hubbard, sorry, Scientology, which obviously our main man is clearly after that. Where it's just like he was in it because he wanted money untaxed, and he blatantly, was like, yeah, no, this is why I did this. But so there's definitely that kind of stuff where it was just kind of like this made this story a little bit more rich for me. Sorry, long-winded, but that's what I was kind of like focused on in this one, where I was just like, it's interesting that PTA has been touching on religion in like Magnolia, There Will Be Blood. This one where it's just like its effects that it has on people, where it's not in the limelight. It's like these are the dirty, gritty parts about the church and all this stuff. So
yeah,
for sure.
No, I'm kind of on the same page as you, Alex. Like I bumped this one up to 4.5 after watching it again because I was just like, just engrossed, dude, with Joaquin. But basically just the main dynamic between the Master and Joaquin, obviously, and I think it's just cool. I don't know. It's just like it's just like this window into like obviously all these external like forces on Joaquin's character, and those forces now causing like just happens by happenstance, like now he's turned to something here with the Master. And I was like, so it was just like a cool, like I love the first like informal processing scene, because I was like, dude, he's literally just like performing psychotherapy here to this guy essentially.
Right.
And I was like, this is, I don't know, it was just wild, because I was like, it got me thinking of like that stuff, the systemic like religion, like what religion and politics, like what these things are, like what their purpose is.
Just to win over people and get
yeah. So it was just like it was just crazy to me. Like I just found it totally interesting, and like I was just like, I just felt for Joaquin's character as like this lost soul, and how many of those there probably are, and how easily influenced, like how it's just like the things they cling to, because
the like real life parallels, I think, brought it to be more engaging or more engrossing, like the Scientology parallel, but Also, like it's right after like World War II, and like
Mhm.
you're saying, like those people at that time, there probably were a lot of people like that, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't really
it,
yeah,
fit in anywhere.
right.
Like, all they knew was war, and yeah,
yeah. That's
Yeah,
fucked
and
up
it's
shit.
like how do you
Yeah,
and when you come back to society, like where do you go? And then we're
right,
following
yeah.
one of the most depraved people, yeah, obviously or
right,
whatever, but
right.
Mhm.
really good characters to set up there. I did note that I think it is the most depraved PTA movie. I don't know what you guys
Mm,
think. Like it feels like the most
Yeah,
dirty and like dark and
yeah.
yeah. No, it is for
yeah.
sure.
I loved that it was like every time it was like a cut of like we're seeing Eddie like kind of watch the master do his thing.
Mhm.
It was like that weird,
The
like you're on
nude
the fringe.
scenes.
Yeah, that's the yeah. I don't know. It's just like very fringe and
Mm,
yeah.
the
It
outside
like gets
perspective
its,
kind of like
yeah,
dark
it gets its
thinking.
like weird message across, which I loved. I liked that weird message. So
Yeah, those nude scenes I think like would really put off some viewers just on a
yeah,
psychological level. Like all
yeah,
the women are naked, all the men are not. Like, but I find I dug into that scene very easily. But no, I think
Classic
like
man.
I think like
Misogynist movie.
it just exemplifies like Joaquin's perspective. Like he
Yeah.
sees
Mhm.
what's the dude's name? Eddie? Is that the guy's name? The big dude, L. Ron Hubbard. He sees L. Ron Hubbard like
Mhm.
as the man who can get all the women. He just this whole
Mm.
movie is all about sex. He just wants to
Yeah,
fuck like, and he can't,
yeah.
and
That's
he's
all he's known, and he's
repressed.
damaged. Yeah,
Yeah,
from it.
and
Mhm.
and like that scene where they're all nude and he's dancing around with all of them, and it just shows what he really cares about, which is like women and just like getting his fucking rocks off, and it shows how he views Elron to like be able to get all these women with his power or with his
Right.
sway, and
Yeah,
it's a really smart scene. I think it could be one of the most off-putting scenes in the movie, though. It's cool.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
No, for sure.
yeah. I feel that.
This story's really rich, I think, and that's what I mean. Obviously, I think what I was reading this is like his a step away from his usual cinematographer too, and I think it's a beautifully shot
Yeah,
movie.
I was gonna say
But
it's like very striking.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm. The
at its
boat
core,
shots are
oh
insanely
yeah,
crisp.
the
Like,
water
I found
and
myself, yeah, I was gonna say, I found myself just like admiring the water, like the ocean
yeah,
swirling shot. I was just like, damn, this is just
the
nice.
overhead
Like,
shot of him laying in that upper deck too is like one of my favorite
yeah,
shots. I think.
awesome.
Yeah, great.
Throwing the banana peel
Yeah, they're
up
all
and
like
shit.
throwing shit at him.
Yeah, yeah.
I
yeah.
did note maybe it was the other cinematographer, like you're saying, but there was a lot of like pushing the characters into darkness in these
Yeah.
shots, or like shadow shots where you don't see all the character. Like, I just took note of that. Maybe it's like he's trying to say that these characters are pushing into like evil or lies or deception, or like the things that he's being taught might not be
Mhm.
true. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
just took that note. It was a good touch, and I made me question what he was saying. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And no, this is one of his richer stories, I think, too. I mean, this and There Will Be Blood back to back. I think.
Mm,
I don't know. He's right. He's on
he's on a
something
high
here.
here. Yeah, I
for
think
But it's
sure.
just,
honestly, I never saw There Will Be Blood till last week, and I think that's kind of what brought this movie down a little bit. Because when I saw it
mm,
the first time, it was shot out. Holy fuck, that's insane. That's great. And
Yeah,
then
right.
to me, it kind of repeated a few beats from There Will Be Blood in this movie, or like similar feels. And I didn't. It somewhat felt repetitive to me. This movie from There Will Be
Okay.
Blood, a little bit.
I can see that, like the plain view and the masters. Like, are you talking about like that kind of parallel where
Yeah, I mean,
you
the
know?
one extreme parallel I can draw is that there's like a one take fight scene where he
Mm,
like is like like strangling him on the ground and like trying
oh
to,
yeah,
and it has that same character that in both films, the like strangly
mhm,
balder kind of guy who's just there,
yeah.
but with Daniel Plainview like shoving mud in the guy's mouth, it just made me think like PTA was doing the same kind of thing, with that, or same attempted the same thing there, and I drew a couple parallels to be like, There Will Be Blood did it better, I mean,
Yeah.
straight up.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I I I feel that. I really love the scene that follows that where they're in jail, the master and him together. Because I felt once that scene, um, I don't know. I was like that was super impactful for me because like I got the feeling of a more of like frustration with the system coming from PTA. Maybe like this dude, the super charismatic dude who's like kind of got this image of like this protector and like this wise man kind of thing with, you know, in the same spot as like this guy who's an animal, you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know. I really like that, and like the, you know, the kind of the, you know, Eddie's like raging and frustrated that he's in that situation, and the master's like just has to accept it or whatever, you know, to take it out.
Which
yeah,
is interesting
that was
too,
powerful.
the dynamic of the animal and the composed individual. And like
Yeah.
you can tell deep down, like all that he's doing is obviously for, you know, it's a front. And it cracks a little when that guy questions him so much and keeps
Right.
hammering home. He's like, big fuck, you know, and he's just like, oh, what was that? You fucking animal. So I don't know.
Right.
That was just, I mean, Seymour Hoffman acted the hell out of this. So I mean,
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely.
they just brought their A games, and it was just such cool characters and story. So that's why, yeah, it's up there with one of his best stories, I think.
For sure. I think the story is very good. I think what kind of brought it down a little bit this watch was that the repetitive from There Will Be Blood is there, but the story kind of repeats itself a few times this movie, where the master and subservient dynamic, it kind of doesn't really, it kind of just is there, and it doesn't really change that much. Or like they have too many drinking scenes where they're not adding anything other than camaraderie again. Like,
yeah.
So I felt like a little bit in the second half that maybe they could have tightened it a little bit, but that's just me.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
I think that's fair. Yeah, because I would love, because there was like near the end, it gets to the point where it's like Eddie's kind of figuring that out too, that like, you know, he can't really trust just to like follow this guy, and like shit's gonna turn out okay for him. So yeah, maybe there could have been a more of like a lean or a more like clashing moment between the master and him to be like, I guess the end scene kind of is that it's like, don't ever, if you leave, I don't ever want to see you again, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was kind of hoping there was like a I don't know.
You don't really see that
inspiring
from what I
event.
remember, because he drives off on the dirt bike. They walk after him, and that's kind of just like showing you that the relationship's done. Because after that, I think he's gone. He goes back home or whatever. So it's like, I wonder if there were some scenes that got taken out for the sake of story, maybe, but I don't know if he took out the right ones. You know, I don't know. That's just, I don't know. I just question some.
That's a good question. I saw in the comics that there was like a deleted scene where Phoenix and Rami Malek get pretty aggressive, intimate or close to. Yeah, you know, I don't know. Like, so I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but you know. Yeah. I'm just I'm imagining what they left out, and if that would have helped push that cap off that relationship better.
I don't know. Yeah, I do like how it's kind of open ended at what goes down sometimes in it, or how he got there, but sometimes you need it, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it just happened to work with this type of, you know, these types of characters where it's like drifters. This guy, at least Eddie, you know, like drifter.
Yeah, I will say Anderson's a very good writer. I came around to in this movie, though. I mean, I've come around to that, but like the scene that you brought up, Noah, about the first like, was it the first questioning or whatever? I just felt Anderson on the page in that screen where he's like, all right, I got him sat down at the table. I'm going to kind of back and forth him with questions, you know, enough. And then like he gets to a point where he's like ready to end it. And he's like, I put it away, you know, and then like he's like, put the mic away. And then Joaquin's like, no, this is fun. I want to keep going, you know, like he puts the mic back and he shifts the scene slightly in tone to be like darker or more like edgy onto Joaquin. I just like, I was just like imagining PTA writing that scene and like him putting the mic over there, him bringing the mic back because he had more to say. Anderson's a very engaging writer, and I like it. I like what he's doing with his scripts. I like the execution a lot. And yeah, I don't know. The Master, very good film. Definitely top 5 PTA at least for me. So
yeah, same here.
Definitely. I'm kind of in the same boat you were with Kubrick. I don't know how I'm going to rank these in the end, you know, because especially with these like past 3, it's going to be hard to kind of place these in the upper echelon.
This is definitely, I haven't seen Inherent Vices, the next one, right? But
that one I'm for sure about, but
I've heard that's the worst or whatever, but this is definitely a high for Paul, man. Holy shit, man. Those last 3 movies for sure. Crazy.
Absolutely.
Hitting.
We still feeling good about PTA?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I think what's good about these dives is that even if you don't like a director, they're gonna work their way over on you. You know, at least for me. I'm not trying to hate PTA at all because I love film and I love
Yeah, right.
great
No,
film.
yeah.
So like
Yeah.
for me, I just needed more examples, and I got them, and now I'm on board. You know, so
Sweet.
Yep.
Hell
Yep.
yeah.
Same here. I was pretty after after Boogie Nights. I was like, I feel this dude.
Absolutely.
I'm down to clown. So yeah,
pop another bottle of champagne. We got what, a couple more blocks to go till the
Couple
club.
more. That's it.
sir.
Yeah. I think actually only 2 more, right? 2 more blocks.
Was
And
it
we're there.
Yeah, it was
3 blocks
after
right?
that.
Oh, I forgot about Phantom Thread. Fuck.
Damn, yeah.
Fan of bread. That's the one. Yeah.
Phantom and Licorice Pizza.
Yes, sir.
Almost done,
All right,
though.
2 more
Almost
blocks.
done.
Some good
Yep.
ones.
Been fun.
Over here! The game is called Pick a Point. You pick a point, drive straight at it as fast as you can. I'll go first. I pick that windy road.